Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You guys are doing pretty well. Today's video is going to be a little different here. I haven't done this in a while. I have the test hood here right next to me. I'll flip the camera over in a second. I'm going to just give you a background of what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to go over the full line of CarPro coatings. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go over the application, some discussion about the coatings and some tips and tricks that I've learned with the coatings here. And then the second part is going to focus on the hydrophobics. Now this is not going to be a torture test. I don't believe in torture tests. Torture tests it's a very small data point. It doesn't really tell you other than how chemical resistant the coating is. Again, I'm not a believer in those type of tests. They're good for YouTube and they're good for views and everything, but I just don't believe in them. You know, the true test for durability of a coating is to actually apply it to a vehicle. So if you want to test different coatings, just put them on your daily driver and see how well they hold up in the course of a year. A year's a good set of data to kind of determine whether coating is good or not. Whether it's going to last the full time of whatever the claimed durability is, that's a different story. Most of you are going to be polishing your vehicle within that 1 to 2 year time frame anyway. So most of you are not going to be putting a 5-year coating and leaving it on there for 5 years because you're not going to be happy with the finish over time, especially if it's a darker color vehicle, black, a navy blue, something like that. Where you're going to start seeing some swirls and stuff kind of show up. You're going to want to polish that within, like I said, within a year or two. Just depends on how well you maintain your vehicle. If you have a white or silver car, you can get by with it because they tend to hide defects much better than a darker painted vehicle. So that's just my spiel on torture tests. That's why you don't see them on the channel, because I don't really believe in them. So again, we're going to go over the application of the coatings here. I have my notebook here with a bunch of notes and stuff that I wrote down. So I have a bunch of data on here. So we're going to start off with, again, we're going to just give you a brief overview of the coatings here. So we have Cquartz Lite. Now this bottle is a little older, but the reason I bought this one and I never used this one is because at one point Cquartz Lite came in a plastic bottle, and then they transitioned over to these glass bottles. I believe this is a 150 milliliter, which is about 5 ounces of product. They switched over to the glass bottle, and I really just wanted to buy it because I just wanted the bottle in my collection, so that's why I had it. I don't know what they're using now because at one point they were having issues when it was shipping that the bottles were breaking. So again, Cquartz Lite, they have that. That's their like entry-level coating. I have the small bottle here. I didn't bring out the big bottle of Cquartz SiC. This is a 10 ml sample. This is what I have left over from the wheels. I didn't want to open a brand new bottle because I still have plenty in this little bottle. But then we have Cquartz SiC, which is the next guy here. Then we have good old, I opened up a, actually no, this is a, I opened this up quite some time ago. It's a Cquartz UK 3.0. And then we have their new coating here, which is Dquartz Go, which I used on the Equinox wheels. This is kind of like what I have left over. And then I ended up topping that with SiC. We'll go over all the details of these coatings here in a second. So we're going to go over discussion first, and I'll show you the application of this. So again, we're going to start off with the lowest durability coating, which would be, this is your entry-level coating to get into the CarPro line of products here. It would be Cquartz Lite. So we're going to go over what Cquartz Lite is. So from a price standpoint, this is as of 2025. The kit is going to retail for $55.99, and the kit includes the applicators, the bottle, and I think that's primarily, and maybe I think there's a towel in there. Again, I haven't bought a kit in so long. Then just a standalone bottle like this, $45.99. Again, that's for 150 milliliters of product. This is based on the formula for Cquartz UK. So the Cquartz UK, so it has a mixture of SiO2 and TiO2. They call it particles. And it's a 45% solid coating, 110 degree contact angle. Its durability, so when it comes to durability with CarPro coatings, they're very conservative in the durability claims here. I'm going to put that out there. They can last longer. I've read people where they've had coatings last longer. So Cquartz Lite, for example, they state 6 to 12 plus months. On the bottle it says 6 plus months, but on their what I found out, it said 6 to 12 plus months. Its true durability is actually 18 months. Now, the reason why they don't advertise 18 months is because now that starts getting into the other product, the other coatings like SiC and UK. So they stick with the 6 to 12 plus months. Its pH range is between 4 to 12, It's a single layer coating, and you're going to just wipe on, wipe off. And this one, it says you can wait 4 hours. So you want to wait 4 hours before it gets wet. Of course, they're going to recommend 24 hours to get the best performance, but you can wait 4 hours before getting it wet. You can top it with reload 1 hour after. So let's go over the application here as I rotate the camera and show you how this is going to work here. So let me rotate the camera, and I'll give you guys the best possible view. I have a lot of glare coming from the glass here, so let me kind of just pull you in here. And I'm going to prep so I'm just going to be using a suede and a suede block. These are my own custom made suedes. I have the big towels from CarPro, and so I just cut them up into my own applicators. So I'm going to go ahead and shake the bottle. So just shake your coating pretty well here. Let's give it a few shakes. This has the adult proof cap. And we're going to just prep this like so. Actually, that's more than enough. That's more than enough in there. I'm going to put the cap back on the coating bottle because I don't want it to start curing in there. And I have a junky Kirkland towel here that's going to get trashed after this anyway. So as far as the application goes, what I forgot to state is the way I prepped this panel here before I continue is I used, I was playing around with Pan's spray polish here. So I was just using this as a polishing pad. And then I used Pan's panel wipe. Again, just playing around with his products here. So let's go over to the application now. So as far as application, I'm going to see if I can apply with my left hand so you can actually see it. I'm just going to apply this. Cross hatch it. And I'm just going to see if I can get the outer edges here. They're pretty straightforward in terms of application. And what you're going to see, I don't know if it'll show up on camera. I'll bring it in close. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it's going to show. You'll start seeing it to instantly rainbow. And once again, you don't have to wait for this thing to set up. So it's a wipe on, wipe off aspect here. Again, I don't know if I think you can actually see it's right around here. It will rainbow pretty quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my towel and just do the initial wipe. I'm just going to flip it to this other end here. And we're going to just give this a good final wipe. And this actually does feel a little smoother than the last time I used it. I haven't used the Cquartz Lite in so long, so I don't know if they made any changes to the formula. That's it. I mean, it's that simple to apply this. Again, this is their answer to Geon can coat. So let me just go ahead and flip you guys back over, and we'll go over discussion for the next coating here as we talk about SiC would be the next coating here. So SiC, I didn't bring my other bottle either of titanium dioxide. So for those of you who are not familiar with the CarPro lineup of coatings, back in the day, and I'm going to date myself, I'm going back to early 2000s here. When coatings first came on the market from CarPro, we only had two variations. We had, and I don't remember which version it was either one Cquartz, the first version or the second version. I don't remember which one I started off with. But I started off with one of those, and we only had Cquartz UK and Cquartz TiO2. One of the things with the previous versions of Cquartz UK is they had a tendency to water spot. The water spot resistance wasn't as good as what it is today. And so one of the ways to get around it was to top it with what they have in their lineup, which was referred to as Cquartz Classic or Cquartz TiO2, which is titanium dioxide. That was a predecessor to Cquartz SiC. Very good coating that actually had the water spot resistance. That was much better for that. So we would top Cquartz UK with TiO2. Now Cquartz SiC leverages off that technology of TiO2, meaning this is the evolution of their titanium dioxide coating. SiC stands for silicon carbide. So again, here's what it states on here. The SiC is for add additional chemical resistance, improves the resistance of what they claim is mineral spots, and they put water in parentheses, minerals, water spots. And the SiC has increased gloss over their TiO2. So again, it's an evolution of TiO2, just a better, stronger performer than their titanium dioxide coating, which I was a big fan of that coating, and I really enjoyed the stacking of it. 110-degree contact angle. This is so the durability for this one here. Again, they're very conservative. They state 18 months. That's why I said Cquartz Lite, even though it has a true durability of 18 months, they don't state that because then it starts coming into this range here. pH, like I said, the pH for this is 3 to 12. As far as the flash time for this, it's 3 to 5 minutes on the panel. So once you apply to the panel, you wait 3 to 5 minutes. You can go up to 15 minutes. It depends on the temperature and the humidity in your area and whether the air movement. For a second layer, so CarPro, when it comes to their coatings, they always recommend 2 layers. Now that's not a requirement to do 2 layers, it's a recommendation. You're always going to get better performance with 2 layers with their coatings versus 1. It's kind of a drawback. I'm hoping they get to where you can just use 1 layer for every single coating that they offer, but for some reason their coatings just do better with 2 layers. So if you want to do a second layer, it's 45 to 60 minutes. And if you miss that 60-minute window, oh, here it is. It's 45 to 60 minutes for the second layer, or you wait until the next day if it's beyond the 90 minutes. So you have 90 minutes to apply a second layer. If you're over that 90 minutes, you're going to wait till the next day to apply a second layer. One thing that they do state is do not top this with reload, because reload will damage the coating. And that says you can wait 3 hours before it gets wet. 24 hours is always recommended for their coatings. From a price standpoint, I forgot to state that, they have the 30 mil, which is $63.99, 50 mil, $83.99, and then the 100 mil, $139.99 as of 2025. So that's Cquartz SiC. And so let's get to the application of Cquartz SiC. Actually, I'll just do this here while you have the camera faced in front of me. I'm going to put another suede block, a different one on another block. I'm going to give this a good shake. Put it down, and then we're going to go ahead and just put some coating on here. Okay, so again, that's more than enough than what you need for this test section here. So let me get that out of the way. And this has a distinct odor, unlike Cquartz Lite in UK. So let me go ahead and flip this over, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring you in closer to the second panel here, which is this guy here. Okay, so same type of application process. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this little area here, and I'm gonna cross hatch it. The reason I'm using my left hand is because I want you guys to see the application. Again, pretty straightforward. One thing I forgot to note is the flashing of this. Is when it flashes, you'll start to see it kind of sweat, and I'll show you how that does here in a minute. It is a bit windy outside, so some of that wind is coming into the garage, and so we're going to keep that in mind here. So let me just kind of throw this suede down at the bottom because I've already used it up. Okay, so here you can actually see it's 121, so we're going to wait 5 minutes. We're going to let it do its thing. And while that's waiting, let's just go ahead and I'm going to prep my next suede for the next coating here, which is Cquartz UK. That's what I'm doing in the background here. Kind of just looking and inspecting it, so it hasn't really set up yet. Once it starts to kind of do the sweating effect, it's on the verge of telling you it's ready. But again, we're only 1 minute in. We'll let it sit for 5 minutes. Okay, now it's kind of this is going to be a long test here, a long video in terms, because I have to apply these, and it's a 5 minute window for this. Wipe on, wipe off. and then Dquartz is another one we have to wait for 5 minutes. So yeah, so let's see if I can actually see this here. Let me bring you in closer, just kind of give you a visual inspection. Hopefully you guys can actually see this. So it's starting to separate into larger lines. Here, I don't know if it actually can see it. So it's starting to sweat. And again, I have the air coming in because I have the garage open. Like I can actually see it up here where it's starting to do the sweating effect there. So I'm gonna let that sit for, so again, we're only 1 minute in. I'm just gonna let that sit for 5 minutes. So when the clock says 1:26 is when I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this off. But I wanna just give you an idea of what it's starting to do as it's setting up. Let's talk about SiC. So Cquartz SiC, let me just kind of flip it back over so we can talk face to face here. Cquartz SiC, as I mentioned, back in the day we would use Cquartz UK as the base, and we would, at the time, gliss wasn't available, so we didn't have the option to put a topper on the coating to help UK with its water spot resistance, and so we were left with TiO2. But these days, because this has replaced TiO2, the option is you can actually stack this over your base layer of UK. Now, the thought behind this, topping it with TiO2 back in the day, you would get the hardness of UK with the chemical resistance and water spot resistance of, again, TiO2, in this instance, SiC. So that's the theory behind this. So you get the best of both worlds with this. Cquartz UK 3.0, we'll talk about this when we get there, but it has better water spot resistance than the previous version. And the other option as well is you can top Dquartz Go, and we'll talk about this with SiC to add hydrophobic properties, and we'll talk about why when we get to Dquartz Go. But I just want to give you guys an idea of that. SiC is a standalone coating, but it can be used as a top coat over UK or Dquartz Go. So again, it's completely up to you if you want to do the stack. Fun to play with. It changes the look a bit when you're using that as a stack because you get a different type of gloss. You're not only getting depth, but you're getting that enhanced gloss. It's a nice look. I definitely recommend at least trying it once to kind of see what you guys think about it. So let's see, we're 3 minutes in at this point. So I'm going to flip the camera back around. And let me inspect this real quick. Yeah, it's starting to do the sweating effect up here. So probably another couple minutes, as I said. Again, with the wind coming into the garage, it's accelerating that speed here. So if you're coating using SiC as your coating, and you have the garage open, keep in mind that the wind is going to actually make this setup a bit faster than having the garage door closed. So again, I'm just keeping an eye on the clock. So I got one more minute, and then we'll wipe it off, and I'll show you what it looks like before we wipe it off. But yeah, it's starting to separate. I could actually wipe it off now. Yeah, just kind of visually looking at it, it's ready to be wiped off. So here's the time here. So we waited 4 minutes here. Let me just wait 1 more minute, and then we'll wipe it off. Okay, so we just hit the 5 minute mark. It was 1:21. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my towel here. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you guys what it looks like. I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but up here it started to do the sweating effect. You can see the surface kind of bead and looks like a little hazy. That's when you know the coating is ready to be wiped off. There you go. You can see it perfectly on this light here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do an initial wipe. Again, SiC has a nice feel to it. Okay, just wipe it off. Just make sure I have it all wiped off. Okay, great. So that takes care of that. And so now we're going to get over to Cquartz UK. I'm kind of just put it around with my towel here. Okay, so I'm going to flip the camera over and we're going to talk about Cquartz UK, and I'm going to move you closer as well as we move along the process here. Okay, set that. Okay, so Cquartz UK would be the next coating here. Get this little bottle of SiC out of the way. Cquartz UK would be the next bottle or the next coating in terms of durability claims here. And so we're going to go over this one here. So this coating is, so the 30 ml bottle costs for, as of 2025, $59.99. So again, still one of the best bargains on the market for a good, very good coating that performs well. A 50 milliliter bottle is $79.99, and a 100 ml bottle is $149.99. So again, still priced relatively well. This is a quartz-based coating, meaning this is silicon dioxide. They state it's 70% SiO2. And as far as the durability claims, CarPro, with their conservative claim, state 2 years. That doesn't mean it's going to fail in 2 years. I've read the people's posts and just various things where they've had the coating on their paint for 3, 4, 5 years. So again, it just depends on how you maintain it, how the car is driven, how it's stored. If it's in the garage, it's going to last a long time. If it's daily driven, yeah, it's not going to get to that point. But again, this will last a lot longer if you maintain it properly. In the elements, you're going to get roughly about 2 years out of this easily. Contact angle, 110 degree contact angle. The pH for this is 3 to 13, which is very similar to where's that at? To the other coatings. This actually handles a wider range than SiC and Cquartz Lite on the upper scale. Let's see. As far as how to tell when it's ready to be wiped off, for the way it flashes, this is a rainbow type coating. So once the coating starts to rainbow, you can go ahead and wipe it off. So it says you're going to feel a slight grab when you're wiping this off. So we're going to take a look at that. Again, CarPro recommends 2 layers of application versus just 1. Again, a recommendation is not a requirement, but like as I mentioned before, you get better performance when you do 2 layers of this versus 1, which you can get by with just 1. So if you want to top this with a second layer, they state 45 to 60 minutes for an additional layer. They also recommend that you wait until the next day if it's beyond that 60 minutes. So again, 45 to 60 minutes, you can top it with itself, or you can use SiC as I mentioned in there. The max is 3 layers, 2 is recommended. You can apply reload 30 to 60 minutes after the last layer of Cquartz UK that you put on the surface, and they recommend you keep it dry for 1 hour, and then you can release it. Again, they recommend 24 hours when it's ready to go to your customer. So let's go ahead and shake this up. Again, this has been one of my favorite coatings of all time, and it just performs very well for me. In my area, it lasts, I can get 2 years, a little over 2 years on a daily driver with just maintaining it with Echo, which is pretty good. So let's see if this comes out. Yeah, so this one's a little thicker. Than the others. Okay, so I'm going to put this down. I got a little bit of something on there. I cracked open that bottle not too long ago, and it had a little bit of glass on there already set up. Okay, so we're going to go over the application of UK. We're going to do that right here. So again, very similar application. I'm just going to go ahead and take the block and just apply this. So we're going to let that set up. I applied it kind of thick on the pad there, but let's just go ahead and do that. Get my edges, and because I have the air coming in from the outside, it is going to set this coating up a lot faster than what's recommended. So I'm going to let this set up. I can actually already start to see it rainbow. Once you start to see it rainbow, it's ready to go. I'm going to let this just set for another few seconds because it's not even all the way through. And so this coating, again, depending on your temperature and humidity, it can actually set up a lot quicker. In this instance, because I just had a breeze of air come in, it set this up rather quick. So I'm going to bring this up to so let's set up for another few seconds here. I'll bring you in just to kind of show you. Hopefully it shows up on camera. But this whole area here is rainbowed. I think it shows up on camera. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. Yeah, so it's all rainbowed. So we're going to go ahead and wipe this off. And if you don't know if it's ready to move, you can either take your towel like I just did and see if you get resistance. You can take your finger like I just did, like this. And what I'm doing here is I'm making sure to see if I'm pushing coating around. In this instance, I'm not, and it's ready to be wiped off. So I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this off. You'll feel some slight resistance on there. Nothing too crazy. Again, it's a real nice coating to work with. I'm going to flip this over to the other edge. And we're going to wipe this off, so you don't get any high spots. So pretty straightforward application. Again, it's become so much user friendly. You guys are really lucky to be using this version because the previous two versions they weren't as easy as this, and it has a nice smooth feel now versus the previous versions of the coating here. So again, you guys are lucky with the new version with 3.0. Let's go ahead and flip this back around. I'm going to bring it over to the last section here, and we'll talk about Dquartz Go, which is now their new, do we want to say flagship coating? I don't know. I don't know about flagship, but again, it's their latest coating on the market. So let's talk about Dquartz Go here. So from a price standpoint, it's 50 milliliters for $109.99, so $109.99. That's the only price that I found for this. They don't make in other sizes. I'm hoping at one point they give you a 30 ml bottle for those of you who just want to try this, so that cuts the cost a little bit down, because I know a lot of people are not going to spend $100 on a coating when they can just buy UK for $60. So I hope they kind of bring this down, and maybe it costs $70 for 30 ml. That's just kind of my take on it. So this coating here is a nano diamond quartz infusion. That's exactly what they state, and that's what it says right on the bottle. So this is their latest coating. The durability, again, it's a conservative claim. They're saying 2+ years. So again, depends on how you maintain it. I don't have the actual durability for this. I haven't tested it for if it's going to last that long. I may test this one on another panel. I applied it to the Equinox on the rear panel. And I think because I applied it during the day, it didn't have time to set up, and so the beading doesn't look great. But yeah, so we're going to talk Dquartz Go here, 2+ years. Its pH is the similar range as UK, 3 to 13. I didn't find anything on contact angle, and we'll talk about this contact angle here in a minute. This is a 1-layer coating. You can do a second layer 1 hour after. You can top it with SiC 1 hour after. You can top it with reload, gliss, or release 4 hours after your last layer of Dquartz Go. As far as the way it flashes, it says it's going to flash wet. It's going to have flash like a wet appearance. It's going to have some slight beading, like sweat and effect style. And as far as the wipe off, this is coming from Avi. So CarPro US has a 5 to 15 minute time frame to wipe this off. Per Avi, he said just let it set up for 5 minutes, and you do a gentle wipe, and you're good to go. And that when you wipe this off, you're going to have a gentle, tacky feeling when you wipe it off. But again, that's kind of like the other coatings here. So again, that's based on Avi. He said just let it set up for 5 minutes, and you gently wipe it off. He actually even stated that you don't need to use 2 towels. I haven't played around with it on a full vehicle to really state whether or not that's a possibility, but he said you don't need the secondary towel. I always caution and use a secondary towel. Now, as far as the no contact angle thing, because I did speak to Avi about this. I was like, hey Avi, look, I tested Dquartz Go. It's not as hydrophobic as some of these other coatings. And he said, well, what do you mean hydrophobic? I said, well, it's not like Cquartz UK or the other coatings on here. That's when he came back and said, well, the primary focus for Dquartz Go is on protection, because they state on the bottle that it increases the paint hardness by up to 5 points. I mean, this is focused on hardness versus hydrophobic. So the hydrophobics is not going to be as good as, the way I take it is the hydrophobics, and I've seen this personally, the hydrophobics are not going to be as good as UK, SiC, or Cquartz Lite. This is why people are topping Dquartz Go with SiC, and now you have Gliss 2.0, which I'm playing around with Dquartz Go topped with SiC on the Equinox on one panel here. I'm kind of just playing around because I'm playing around with Gliss to see how well it plays with that. But yeah, that's what Avi had mentioned to me, that it's focused on protection, and I took that as okay. So they focus on protection. That means that they're sacrificing some of the hydrophobics from the coating here. Now, one thing I will mention here is I played around with this. I played around with it here and there, and I noticed I get better performance with 2 layers versus 1 with Dquartz Go. But again, we're going to take a look at it, and we're going to see how this performs. I'm going to just go ahead and shake this because I actually did use this on the wheels of the Equinox, but I topped it with SiC because I wanted I'm basically taking that into philosophy. I want this for its hardness to prevent, on the gloss black wheels, I want this as my base level hardness, but I want the chemical resistance and the hydrophobics from SiC. That's the idea that I'm thinking with this. So let's go ahead and pop this open. Put it away from my face. It already started crystallizing. So there you go. It does crystallize like Cquartz UK. We're going to just pop some coating on here. Prime my applicator. So every time you prime your applicator, you're going to be using a bit more. I'm going to flip the camera over. And we're going to work on these 2 sections here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 layer of Dquartz Go here, and I'm going to do 2 layers here. So I'm actually going to, I forgot to mention that. I'm actually going to be doing the recommended 2 layers on UK and SiC, and I'm going to do a 2nd layer of Dquartz Go. I'm going to do 1 layer of Cquartz Lite, because they only recommend 1 layer. So we're going to go ahead and just apply this. So we're going to set this as a timer for 5 minutes as it sets up. So let me get my edges. Okay, so let's take a look. So we're at roughly, where's my phone? 140. So at 145, we'll wipe this one off. And I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit more coating here because I'm going to do this side as well, since I'm going to be doing 2 layers on this side. So we can check out the hydrophobics to see how well it does. That's good enough. Just going to thin this out one more time. And like I said, as I mentioned with this coating here, I've been, we'll discuss this. Let me kind of just put this back, and we'll have a discussion here face to face. So again, I put this one applied at a minute after. So 140, 141. Once this gets to 145, we'll wipe it off. 146, we'll wipe it off. So let me flip the camera over, and we'll talk about what I think about this coating, because I want to kind of share my thoughts with Dquartz Go. So Dquartz Go for me, it's been a love-hate relationship with this coating. Meaning, when I tested on the Camaro, I wasn't too thrilled with the hydrophobics of the coating, which is why I polished it off that sail panel. It looked great initially, but then once I started to wash it, I started to notice that the hydrophobics were kind of, not as great. So I just polished it off, and I kind of just set this coating on the back burner. I tested it on the Equinox here. I don't think it had enough time to set up, because I think it states on here, I didn't even write this down. They recommend 48 hours actually for this thing to set up before, basically 2 days before it can get wet. So there's no, I forgot to write down the time frame on this, on how soon this can get wet. There is none. They recommend to let this sit for at least minimum 24 hours, maximum 48 hours before it can get wet. And I think that's what happened on the Equinox, is I didn't let it sit long enough, and the moisture, meaning I didn't let it sit long enough before it got wet, and I think the moisture from the morning dew damaged the coating, and it just didn't perform very well. So I'm still debating on whether or not I want to test this on a full vehicle here and see how it does. I haven't really thought that through, or maybe just test it on a portion of the car here. Maybe I can one of the black mirrors. What I ended up doing the previous weekend is actually applied Cquartz Lite to the black mirrors where the C6 Hydro Lite had failed. So again, if you guys want to see me test out Cquartz Lite or Dquartz Go, go ahead and let me know. Maybe I can put those on one of the cars here. Again, just some thoughts here as I'm eventually going to polish the C6 Hydro Lite off of that. I'm just going to do 1 year, and then we're going to transition over to the coating here. So let me kind of inspect. Let's inspect the coatings here. I'll flip you over. Okay, so you can see it. I don't know if you can. This actually shows on camera on this portion, but this whole portion has already started to rainbow. I think you can feel that light on the top. I think it can actually shows it. So this whole portion has rainbowed. This one here has some slight. Where's my finger at here? Right in this area here. I don't know if it shows on camera. You can slightly see it right here. It starts to do that beading effect here. I can actually see it all right here. And so it looks like it does both because again, certain times when I applied it, it just does the rainbow. Certain times when I do apply it, you get both the sweating effect on there. So again, I don't know which is the proper way for this to kind of set up here, but again, I just let it sit for 5 minutes, and then I just do this gentle wipe off like Avi had said. Again, he's the guy that knows the CarPro stuff. Okay, so we got 1 more minute, then I'll wipe it off, and we'll go over the wipe off process here. So yeah, hopefully that's kind of helps with the tips on how to work with Dquartz Go to give the best performance from the coating. All right, we got 1 more still waiting on the last minute here. I'm gonna grab my towel. Okay, so now it's 1:45, so we hit our 5-minute window. And just like Avi said, I'm going to bring you guys in closer as I wipe this off. He said to do a gentle wipe off, so I'm not taking this with any pressure. Just kind of level this out. Flip this towel over. If I was using this whole side, I could do that. I just folded it because I want to use as many sides of this towel as possible. Okay. So this has a nice, again, smooth wipe off, nothing crazy. It's not super slick or anything like that. It feels like, I have another towel in front of me, but it feels very similar to like Cquartz UK. So let's go ahead and wipe this off too, because it's been 1 minute later. Let's go ahead and take this one off. And again, this one has rainbowed, all the rainbow here, and it's done a little bit of sweating on there. So again, we're just going to gently wipe this off as we prep this side for having 2 layers of coating here. So let's go ahead and wipe this off. Okay, that's it. Let's make sure I wipe it all off. Okay, so that's primary. That's it for all the coatings here. I think the last thing I want to do is, you're going to have to bear with me here, is I'm going to pull up the tape lines here, and we're going to check and see if what type of saturation this adds. Actually, I'll just do this way because it looks real good. So pull that one down here. Looks like I didn't wipe it off enough up here, but that's okay. So we'll take a look at the SiC side, and then we'll do, let's see if I can pop this side off here. I think I am. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can actually see this from here. Yeah, you can actually see it perfect here with the ambient daylight. So here's Cquartz Lite, here's the tape line here. So you can actually see some real nice jetting effect with Cquartz Lite from the paint. Again, looks really nice. This is Cquartz SiC. So again, you can actually see the tape line here. You can see SiC is here, Cquartz Lite is on here. So they both enhance the appearance. To me, just looking at it in person, it's kind of hard to tell, but they both look pretty good here. SiC looks great. And then here's the tape line here. This is SiC and UK. To me, UK looks a little like it has more saturation level in here. So this is looking at added depth, which kind of makes sense. You know, the quartz coating is going to add some depth. And then this is going to alter the gloss just a bit. But again, this looks great too. And then we're going to go over here. And again, here's the tape line right here. And so you're going to get Cquartz UK, and then you have Dquartz Go, which surprisingly looks really good too. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what Dquartz Go looks like. You can see the tape line right there, the light color. Cquartz UK looks great. Cquartz SiC looks a little lighter, you can actually tell. And then Cquartz Lite. Again, with the so again, that's the overall application. I'll put the tape lines back later. Then we'll do the second layers on all these. But yeah, hopefully this kind of helps in the application of the Cquartz lineup of coatings. Again, I want to just kind of just share the application, some tips. I'll kind of just share how what the technology is of these coatings. Kind of give you a nice in-depth breakdown of the coatings to show you what you can get. I'm pretty sure that Cquartz UK and SiC and Dquartz Go are going to look even better with a second layer, but they add some nice saturation to the paint. If I was looking at it right now, to me it looks like it would be Dquartz Go, Cquartz UK. Actually, I think Cquartz UK looks a little better than Dquartz Go. Cquartz Lite, and then SiC. I think just kind of look at it in that order. That's what I'm thinking here. But yeah, overall, very nice application from each one. Again, hopefully this kind of helps in kind of understanding the difference in the coatings, the durability of each coating. And you can see that they're all very user-friendly type coatings. Nothing to be intimidated about. They all work out very well. Again, I just want to share my tips on, especially for Dquartz Go, as I've seen some people kind of state that they can't figure that coating out. This is just based on what Avi had told me. So we're going to look at the hydrophobics and we're going to see, did I get Dquartz Go right? So stay tuned for that. For me, I'm going to wait 7 days. For you, it's going to be just a matter of seconds here, milliseconds, and you guys can check out the follow-up here, and we'll check out the hydrophobics. So I can tell you the hydrophobics of Cquartz Lite, UK, and SiC are great. Dquartz Go for me is always like 50-50, but we'll see how this does, and we're going to see how 2 layers looks versus 1 for Dquartz Go, and is it better to go 2 layers with Dquartz Go? We're going to check that out here. That's all I have for you guys, so stay tuned for the follow-up. Again, for the hydrophobics, it's not going to be a torture test. I'm going to tell you that. It's not a torture test. I'm just going to use some pH-neutral soap, wash the panel a few times, rinse it off, and we're going to see how the coating's performance does. Again, no need to do chemical resistance tests. They're all over the internet if you guys want to watch them, but again, no torture test coming from me. So that's all I have for you guys on the application. Again, enjoy the hydrophobics for the next part. I'll see you guys in milliseconds, but for me it'll be 7 days. See you in a few. Hey everyone, welcome back to the follow-up here for the CarPro coatings. I'm wearing my shirt to subliminal messages to get you guys to buy and influence you guys by. No, I'm just messing with you guys. I just thought it would fit in with the topic of discussion here. So this part here is going to follow up on the hydrophobic test. Again, we're not doing a torture test here. Again, I don't believe in torture testing. If you guys want to see torture testing, hey, you guys have got other channels you guys can go watch. I'm just going to show you the hydrophobics, what to expect from each coating. So I did pull this in the shade here. I was trying out in the sun and I turned the camera on and it just kind of blurred everything out and it just wouldn't show anything. Hopefully it looks better here in the shade. But I'll tell you what, in this shade with the lighting here, I can actually see the jetting effect of all the coatings. So I'm going to flip the camera around just to show you guys what to expect with the coatings, and I hope it translates well on camera here. I don't know if it does, but just from here where I'm sitting, you can see the outline of the coating. So the Cquartz SiC, you can see it here, and then SiC, UK, Dquartz Go, single layer, double layer of it. So I don't know if it translates. Well, there you go. You can actually see it on the camera. So this is Cquartz Lite. So again, it looks great. I mean, that's bare paint right there. You can see Cquartz Lite does add a nice jetting effect on there. You can see SiC looks even darker. And to me, the SiC looks like it's the darkest of the bunch. We can see it looks great. And then we transition over to UK, which again doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good. I think it's the second best looking one on here if we're comparing jetting effect. Again, I'll just kind of go back here. So again, that's Cquartz Lite, SiC, UK. And then we have Dquartz Go. Here you can see it doesn't offer as much jetting effect on there. And then here's the second layer of Dquartz Go, is this guy here. You can see the tape line right here. So again, Dquartz Go looks okay. I think the best looking one in my eyes here is SiC, and then followed up by UK. And then I would probably give it to, it's a toss-up between Lite and Dquartz Go. I'd probably give it to Lite and then Dquartz Go. So again, that's why this is one of the benefits of putting in the shade with, you know, having more diffused lighting. You can actually see that, what it looks like on the outside. And so hopefully this kind of translates well. I hope, well, at least I hope it does. Let me grab the pressure washer nozzle. And let me see if I can actually show you this from here. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see if you guys can actually see this. So I have just the smaller pressure washer, the one that does 1.2 gallons per minute. I think right now it's like 1,000. I think I have it just shy of 1,000 psi roughly in there. So let's take it up. Now, it is windy, so bear with me. So you can see Cquartz Lite's pretty hydrophobic. Okay, I hope you can actually see that. So these three coatings here, Lite, SiC, and UK, are all equally hydrophobic. The wind's really kind of messing things up here. And then you can check out Dquartz Go. See how it floods when I add so much water on there? You can see it floods compared to Cquartz UK, which is next to it. Actually, let me wait for this little gust of wind to kind of just pass by because it's blowing mist back, so it's hard for the camera to pick things up. It's windy today. Probably not the best day to do this, but let's just go ahead and do this. So again, those three are equally hydrophobic, and this one you can see it just floods. Which is still not bad. It's still, you know, from a hydrophobic standpoint, it's still really good. Dquartz Go, but you're gonna get some sheeting from it. Now let me agitate this in the bucket. Right here I just have some Adam's car soap. I'm gonna get that. Just enough to get some suds in here. Now I'm just gonna use a microfiber towel, nothing fancy or anything like that, because I don't want anything fancy for this. This towel's actually going in the trash after. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a contact wash just to kind of show you how these coatings do when it comes to soap. Just kind of go over it a few more times here. And you can see they all fight off the soap. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. You can see how SiC does a way better job to fight off the soap in comparison to some of these other coatings here. The other ones, you can just see UK is on a different level for chemical resistance, which is good. That's what it's designed to do. So let's go ahead and rinse this off. So again, I'll just do this a couple times, just to show you what to expect when you're doing hand washes. Again, with a pH neutral soap. We'll talk about why I'm not doing torture tests on all this. Number one, we're not always washing with battery acid and whatnot. Most of the time, a pH neutral soap is really all you need. For those deep cleaning times, yes, you're gonna probably need something a little stronger like Reset or something, but again, not or you can use Reset all the time. Nothing's gonna happen to your coating. But you can see SiC just does a better job repelling the soap. So maybe if you like that sheeting style form of protection, maybe Dquartz Go's what you go with. Okay, I'm gonna do this. This is what, the third time, and I'm just gonna go over this once. I'm gonna do 5 times here, and then we'll kind of just call this a wrap. And actually, I think this is going to be the last one here, and then we'll kind of do switch over to the shower nozzle, the Keeve nozzle, and then we'll kind of look at the way that these sheet, and the way the hydrophobics, the tight water beading that they have. Now this is why a lot of people tend to use SiC on top of like Cquartz UK or Dquartz Go, because of its because of its chemical resistance. It has a better ability to repel chemicals. You can just actually see that right there on the panel. And these other ones, eventually you're gonna see them fight through. It depends on if your soap has a lot of surfactants in there, it may stick onto your coating a little bit more. So that is what the hydrophobics look like. Let's go over and turn off the pressure washer so we can switch over to the nozzle. But that looks pretty good. I mean, from a hydrophobic standpoint, again, if you're looking for the real tight water beading style of protection, you're gonna either get Cquartz Lite, SiC, or UK. If you like more of the sheeting style, then you just do Dquartz Go. And it looks like it doesn't matter if you go with 1 layer versus 2. So let's go over and flip over, and I'll go turn off the pressure washer because I need to turn this off in order to use the nozzle. And because you don't need the pressure washer on for this, so kind of just bear with me as I walk over. Looking to see what helicopter is up there. It's right up here. Okay, and then if I walk too far, I don't want the camera to disconnect from, or the microphone disconnect from the camera. So I'm going to switch over to this Keeve nozzle, which is this little shower nozzle. It's in, and then I'm going to flip you guys over. And so what this is going to do, it simulates, you know, like rain, perfect for like rain. So check this out here. So let's just sheet all of them first. So here's Cquartz Lite, completely sheets. SiC, good job. UK, great job too. And then here's Dquartz Go. Again, fast sheet rate. They're all equally fast. And then here's the dual layer of Dquartz Go. So again, they all sheet very well. And then let's take a look at the simulate rain. See if I can get this right. So that's what you're going to look like. So here's the beading from 2 layers of Dquartz Go. I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not horrible or anything like that. Here's a single layer of Dquartz Go. So if it's raining outside, and then again, here's a single layer. Again, beading looks pretty good. It's not horrible. I don't know the contact angle, so I can't answer that. So here's UK. And then let's take a look at the beading from UK. You can see that UK does have the tighter water beading, so let me get my head out of the way. Has the tighter water beading. Again, Dquartz is not bad. Let's go to SiC. Again, what do you expect from rain? And then SiC. Again, let me get my head out of the way. You can see that it has the tight water beading as well. And then finally, Cquartz Lite. So Cquartz Lite, all 3 of these coatings here are very similar. So again, here's Cquartz Lite, real tight water beading. And so again, simulating rain. All the coatings are very hydrophobic. And one more time, I'll just sheet rinse this. And you can see that's unprotected paint. So you can see it does sheet, but it does sheet at a slower rate. Just to give you guys a comparison, coated surface, uncoated surface, that's what you're gonna get. And here's SiC, here's UK, Dquartz Go, and then 2 layers of Dquartz Go. So again, real nice hydrophobics on all the coatings here. Let me just put my pressure washer gun down on the cart, and we'll finish up final thoughts here as I flip you guys over one last time. And we'll kind of just go over kind of a recap here of the video here. So again, I went over the application of every single coating from the Cquartz lineup to give you an idea of what to expect from each one of them. So for example, we did Cquartz Lite, we did SiC, we did UK, there's a label, and then Dquartz Go. So all this, by the way, before I continue on, this on the top here is actually just electrical tape. I put this on there because it fits really tight and it keeps it airtight, keeps your coatings lasting a lot longer. So that's one tip I'm going to offer to you. So let's talk over the coatings here and which one should you buy, which one is recommended. And let me just start by saying this. In my experience, in my opinion, using all these coatings, this coating is still the best one in their lineup. Cquartz UK 3.0. It's still their best coating. That's just my personal experience with this coating. Now, I haven't tested Dquartz Go long term, but maybe at some point I will. I did try to put an application on the Equinox on the rear top spoiler, but it needs 24 to 48 hours out of the elements. It didn't have that long, so it kind of messed up there. So I don't have a long-term test, but I do have it as a base layer of my wheels topped with SiC. So let's talk about Cquartz Lite first. So Cquartz Lite, why would you buy Cquartz Lite? So if you're intimidated by coatings and you're trying to find an entry coating to get into, you're one move away from like a wax or a sealant, you want something to last a little longer, but again, you're intimidated by some of those other coatings that offer like multi-year levels of protection, and maybe you don't want to, you're maybe not very good at polishing, and you don't want to really go too deep into polishing because you're concerned you're going to burn through some paint. Cquartz Lite's a good entry coating here. This is a fantastic way to get into coatings. Very user-friendly. You get 150 milliliters, which is 5 ounces here. You can coat multiple vehicles. So if you have multiple cars in your household, you can coat these. You can actually get quite a few vehicles with this amount of coating in here. Like for example, if I was doing it here at my place, I could coat my Camaro, my Grand Prix, the Equinox, and the Impala, all with this bottle here, and I would still have some left over to probably coat another 4 or 5 vehicles. Again, it doesn't take much to use this because this is a single layer application. So again, if you're feeling intimidated, this is a good option. The durability of this, as I mentioned, its true durability is 18 months, but CarPro claims 6 to 12 plus months, which is 6 months to a year, which you'll get this easily with this coating. So depending on how you maintain the coating and the type of environment you live in, you're going to fall within that range, and you're going to do very well with this coating here. So again, this is one of my favorite coatings here to use. And maybe the other option here with Cquartz Lite here, another one that kind of just popped off my top of my head. You have a garage vehicle, like my Camaro. Let's take my Camaro as an example here. I don't drive that car very often. It doesn't see harsh conditions. Plus, I'm in Southern California, but I don't drive it in the rain. That car would be perfectly fine with Cquartz Lite, and Cquartz Lite would be on that car for ideally forever because it doesn't get exposed as much as these other ones. So that's, for example, that's a good option to talk about. You can put it on there. So let's talk about Cquartz SiC. So Cquartz SiC, this one's the most chemical resistant of the coatings. This one has a very nice application. So maybe you're kind of looking for something that has a real user-friendly experience too, but offers a different type of look. We saw the jetting effect on at least on this test hood. Looks a lot better than the other coatings here. But again, maybe you're looking for something that's a little bit more chemical resistance. Maybe you live in like harsher conditions. This would probably be a good option here as well. It gives a different, unique look. It has a nice look to it. Reminds me of TiO2. There's Cquartz Classic, but it's a very good option for a coating. Again, if you want to step up from like the 1-year coating, you go more to like an 18-month coating. This is a good option here. This would fall in the 18 to 24 month range in my personal experience. So let me just talk about this. For me, this would fall into the 12 to 15 month time frame. That's just my estimate here. Cquartz SiC would fall into the 18 to 24 month time frame. Again, CarPro is really conservative from all their coatings here. And then Cquartz UK, again, I think by far this is still their best coating from a performance standpoint. Just overall, I've used this many times. I've used every single version of this coating, first version, second version, now 3.0. It's always proven to perform very well for me here, and this is probably, in my experience here, is their flagship coating in the brand. We saw the hydrophobics, very good jetting effect. If you want to kind of amp up the look a bit, you do a base layer of Cquartz UK, and then you do a layer of SiC on top of it as a top coat, and you get the benefits of both coatings here with the depth of UK and SiC, and then also the reflectivity of SiC was what I was trying to mention here, plus the chemical resistance of SiC would be in there too. So again, this is probably their best coating in the lineup here from my personal experience. And so let's talk about Dquartz Go. Why would you buy Dquartz Go? So CarPro is trying to, I shouldn't, they're trying to. The way I interpret this is CarPro's trying to showcase this as their flagship coating, what do they call it? Nano diamond quartz infusion. To me, it seems that they're trying to sell us on this coating being their flagship. The performance has been inconsistent for me. Eventually, I will test it on a panel of another car here and kind of see how it does over the course of a year. But from a hydrophobic standpoint, it's not as hydrophobic as UK, SiC, or Lite. We saw that on the test panel here. It tends to flood more. So if you like that sheeting style of protection, maybe this is a coating you want to go with. Just follow the application that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Apply to the surface, let it sit for about 5 minutes, gentle wipe off, and then you move on. And I'd probably do a second layer just a precaution, especially if you're doing this as your own car. There's plenty here. This is a 50 ml bottle. You can do 2 layers easily and have plenty left over. So I'd probably do 2 layers just to kind of make sure that you have an even surface on there, because like I said, as I mentioned, Cquartz coatings tend to perform better with 2 layers rather than 1, but you can get away with 1. So yeah, so for Dquartz Go, I'd probably invest in this if I had super soft paint, so you can get the increased hardness from this. And then again, if you like that sheeting style resistance, this would be an option here. Or if you just want to take advantage of its hardening capabilities with this, so you put this down as your base layer, and then you top it with, for example, SiC here, where you add the hydrophobics and of course the chemical resistance of this on top of this as your base layer, which is what I did on the wheels of the Equinox. Or you can use Gliss 2.0. The difference is I only have to wait an hour to put this on top versus 4 hours to put Gliss on top of that. So just kind of mention this thing again. This is probably would be my choice for super soft paint, just to take advantage of the hardening capabilities from that. So again, hopefully this kind of helps everyone. Let me know what you guys think, if this is a video of interest to you, because I am going to be doing one on the jade coatings, because they have so many coatings in their lineup, and we'll kind of just go over which ones I would recommend from that lineup. So I'm probably going to do something similar to that. So again, hopefully this kind of helps you guys out. I know it's a longer style video, but I wanted to just put everything under one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Post your comments down below. If you use a Cquartz, or I should say a CarPro coating, which is your favorite CarPro coating to use. And again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next one. Take care, everyone.